Steve Rivers. Welcome back to the Unbeatable Energy channel. So I want to show you a technique which you could find really, really useful for when you're playing djembe, but equally it's a really useful technique when you're learning polyrhythmic African rhythms on the dunduns. In fact, it could be useful with any percussion instruments you're playing. It could definitely be useful if you tend to be playing the drum set. So let me explain what this is. This is a little phrase that allows you to start combining binary rhythms and ternary rhythms. Now what we mean by that are ternary rhythms which are in threes, in a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and binary rhythms which are in a 1 and 2 and, or a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? So let's say conventionally what we might refer to in that sort of European music theory way is we've got things which are in 4/4, and we've got things which are rhythm patterns which are in 12/8 or 6/8. Okay? So when you start to get into polyrhythmic music, particularly with the djembe in West Africa, and that's just one example, you will find things which we might classify as being in the binary kind of feeling, which is in the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, the 4/4 feeling. And equally, there'd be a whole load of other rhythm arrangements which would be in that ternary feeling, whereas in 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But what we also need to understand is that there's an awful lot of crossover between those two. So you might have something where the emphasis is on a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but there might be passages, particularly with the dunduns, where they might be going into ternary rhythms which can be played within it, but there's this element of sort of a tension that goes on between the 4/4 feeling and the sort of the 12/8, the 6/8 feeling, or let's say the binary or the ternary. And really, honestly, there are also some rhythms you cannot really classify whether it's one or the other. There's such this sort of subtle crossover the two. But it's important to be able to understand that, because you will always sort of feel there's sometimes a counting in twos which is in the context of something where there's a counting in threes. So this pattern is a way that we can start to understand and get comfortable with a crossover of the two. And it's an incredibly simple pattern. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to use the djembe for this. And I'm going to have something which I'm going to call both, which is both hands together. And then I'm going to have another bit, which is 3 beats, and I'm going to call those alternate, because it's alternate hands. And then you put them together, you're going to have both alternate, both alternate, both alternate, both alternate, both alternate, both alternate. Do you see? So basically it's like, the words are saying what you're doing. Both hands together, then alternate hands like that. Important thing with this is it doesn't really matter whether the alternate is left, right, left, or the alternate becomes right, left, right. But it does need to be consistently the same every loop that you do. So what you don't want to do is kind of go both right, left, right, and then go both right, left, both left, right, left. Sorry, you understand what I mean. All right? So you want to keep it consistent. So if I was going both right, left, right, the next one would be both right, left, right, both right, left, right. Okay? So if we just keep that running, now that pattern, the next thing is to keep that running, and keep that running till you get to the point where you don't have to think too much about it, where it becomes something which is motor memory. Don't worry if the both becomes a flam. That won't really matter, okay? It might be a slight flam. Just make sure that the alternate beats, you're keeping them consistent. Either start with the left or start with the right, but if you're starting with the left, always start with the left. Okay? Now when you keep going with that, The next stage of this, once you kind of got that really locked in, is you need to have one of those hands move to another part of the drum or something else that makes a different sound. You see, you could be doing this on your legs. It doesn't really need the drum. I've got some drums here, so I'm using it there. But as long as it makes a different sound, but we're going to carry on the same pattern. Okay, so we're going to do it again, but now we're going to hear some difference in sound. Okay, so there you've got that, and then we've now kind of made the sounds different. Now, as you play that, the thing is to start to be listening and sort of, you know, zooming in on what the specific hands are really doing, okay? And as you probably notice, as you play it, you will start to realize that they're both pretty much, they're creating a sort of a pulse, but the pulses are different. So, when I was doing that then, my left hand here, which was on the tone, that I think was going to go, that would be going, like that. And that would be playing what we probably say is in a binary rhythm, a 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Sorry, I was saying 3, but okay, it says 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. But this hand here was kind of doing more sort of the waltz, which is going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, if you had a drum, if you did have a dundun, this would be almost, this would open doors to a lot of rhythms where you'd find yourself alternating between binary timing and ternary timing, okay? So if we took that same pattern there, and we had the bell and here, and we do it again, we're going both alternate, you'll really hear what's going on here with these combined kind of meters, okay? So let's try it again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Doing it the other way around, what would that be like? That would be like, okay. Now, the reason it's going to be useful is that there are certain rhythms, particularly, let me give you an example. There is a really classic rhythm called soli, all right? And if you take one of the parts in soli, which is in one of the sort of the 12/8 kind of patterns, the ternary patterns, you do have a part which kind of goes like this. Now this closed bit here, this is the part where people often struggle, because at that moment, when you're going in there, that is really going into a sort of a binary timing. It's going dut dut gum gum, and that's going into a 2 and a 3 and a ba ba da ba ba da ba ba da. All right. So eventually, when you have that, this little pattern here is just a way of you getting comfortable with alternating between the two. If you can start to sort of internalize this pattern, you'll get to internalize the feeling, just simply by getting used to combining these two patterns. Okay, so just to finish it off. Or the other way around would be. So there you have it. Do let me know how you got on, leave a comment, and tell me if this has been useful, and do share it with your friends. I've got more rhythms on their way too. Do subscribe to our channel, Unbeatable Energy, if you want to get more of these videos in the future. And good luck with you all. I'll be in touch with you soon.